Hello, travelers, and mad happy 2020 to you. I know you haven't heard from me in a while. Some of you who have signed up for the newsletter, I did send out a newsletter, a couple of newsletters. I lost my adopted baby brother uh, unexpectedly on Christmas Eve. His name was Edward Ashoff. He was the college sports reporter for ESPN. And I think I was 10 when Edward came along. And so it was, he would have been, well, actually, it was his 34th birthday. And he contracted pneumonia and he died. It turns out that he had some kind of genetic disease. This is something that I don't think even he knew because he was adopted by his parents. His adopted father passed away on Christmas Eve when Edward was in high school. And then about 10 years ago, his mom, my mother's sister, passed away as well. So Edward was pretty much alone in the world, and we just absorbed him into the family. And, you know, my mom was here visiting from Washington State. She spent a month with me. So she spent Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And my mom just completely lost it. My brother fell apart, my actual blood brother. It was just a really, you know, and sometimes we don't know the roles that we play in our families. And I kind of was the person who just kind of kept everything together as best I could. And so that's why you have not heard from me for a while. And then, of course, we had this crazy foolishness with almost going to war. So the start of 2020 has been really jarring, not just on a personal level, but I think on a global level. But those of you who've been with me for a while have been hearing me tell you that after 2020, nothing's going to be the same. And I think this was kind of a preview. So today we have the full moon lunar eclipse occurring in the sign of Cancer. There is an opposition of the sun and the moon when there's a full moon, and that just simply means that the sun is sitting in Capricorn and the moon is in Cancer in its own ruling sign. That this is an eclipse. Eclipses are information blackouts, so this something else is coming up on the other side of this. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Sometimes we'll get a preview of what that is, and then, you know, things go dark, and then, you know, maybe 6 months down the road when the next eclipse comes, we'll find out exactly whatever this thing is, because the eclipse hide things. And so, you know, just off the top of my head, I'm really, really worried about Prince Harry. There's just, you know, you can say what you want to say about me, but from what I'm about to say, but I really don't care. There's something about Meghan Markle that I cannot put my finger on. I have never liked her from the beginning. Does that mean that I don't want Prince Harry to be happy? That's not what that means. There's just something about her that I cannot put my finger on that has disturbed me from the very beginning. I remember watching during the wedding her mom, who, poor thing, she was so overwhelmed with emotion. She couldn't even hold her head up during the wedding. She just cried and cried and cried, and she looks like such a sweet lady. And I think Meghan Markle's mean to her. And the reason why I'm very, very worried about Prince Harry is I just get this sense that I get where they're coming from in terms of perhaps the pressures and the intensity and the heavy responsibility. But shit, Meghan Markle ain't the first person to marry into that family, and it's not as though she didn't realize what she was signing on for. I get that the people, you know, some people didn't like her. She received a lot of racism. I get that. But I mean, is she special? On the one hand, yeah, she's the first black princess in the royal family. On the other hand, no, she's just like the rest of them people that married into the royal family. You know what I mean? And but there's just something about her I cannot put my finger on. And I just get the sense that once she gets Harry over to Canada, she's going to isolate him. And it would not surprise me if, one, things don't really break down between the two of them, because I was looking at their chart when they first met, when they announced, that that's who he was seeing. They've got Uranus. They met under a Uranus transit, and those things are always very erratic. And there's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of sparks. And I just get this sense that once she gets him to Canada and isolates him, he's going to be in some serious trouble. And, I can't put my finger on why that is, but from the moment I laid eyes on her, I just knew that that girl was trouble. So, I on the one hand, I don't want to hate on her because I don't like her. I really would like for them to do what's best for them, and I really would like for them to be very, very happy. But at the same time, there's just something about that girl. I can't put my finger on it. And she unnerves me. It's sort of like Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley unnerves me, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. It's as though something is missing from them. But anyway, so keep an eye on that particular situation. I know we here in America are not royal watchers. Maybe some of you are, I don't know. But that just came out of left field. But I'm just really, really worried about him. And I think, every time I look at him, I just remember seeing that little boy walking down the street behind his mother's coffin, unable to hold his head up. And at that moment, I've always preferred him over William, but at that moment, I just kind of took him in. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just kind of absorbed him in. And I just wish him the best. I hope that he remains safe. But I'm just very worried about this whole situation. So anyway, what we're going to do, it is the full moon eclipse. And then let's see, I wrote an article. I don't even have it here. So we have a full moon. Let me see if I can find my article, and then I won't be able to see myself on the screen. But hold on. We have a full moon eclipse. I sent this out yesterday, I do believe. And there's 2 more articles in the pipeline with 3 or 4 more behind it. For website members, I have given you a 2020 surprise. So when you log into your account, you should see it. It's where the What's Hot link is. So make sure that you grab that for yourselves. I'm trying to think what this is. Let me take a look, because I really think that this is okay, that's not it. So let me go back, because we've got some. Oh, Uranus goes direct, I think, tomorrow. And then there's some other kind of let me see here. And then there's some other kind of and we're already under that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. And that's going to be big, because that goes back to the year 2026. That was the last time not the last time this conjunction occurred. It was the last time it occurred across air signs. So all of the activity now, when these guys meet back and forth over the next however many years, it happens, I think, every 20 years, will be occurring across in air signs. There will be squares and oppositions and trines and conjunctions. Let's see. There's something else going on, and I don't even know where I wrote it down, but it'll be coming out in an article. So there's a lot of activity that's happening. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull cards. I didn't want to use cards with any kind of heavy energy. So I'm going to be using the, what do you call it? the Radiant White deck. I will be resuming this weekend the Learn the Deck, Earn the Deck, the Casanova, because, you know, January's already about to be gone. It's already the 10th, if you can believe that. And will be working on today the January readings. I can't promise you, honestly, and I hate to do this, but I can't promise you that it's going to be 24 videos like there normally is. I might just do the elementals. My energy is still kind of, it's very, very sapped. And so I need to kind of conserve my energy so that I can get ready for February. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I'm doing the best that I can under the circumstances. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get to the reading. I do have with me the La Vida Sibylla. I have the Conjure cards. And today I'm going to be pulling a Heart Oracle Tarot because I just feel as though with the intensity of the energy that we really need something to kind of maybe help us out a little bit. I know I need some help. I'm not going to lie. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the reading, okay? We're going to do 9 cards down. I need to turn my device on. Okay. Three of Swords. And that could be that ugly energy. That's Saturn in Libra. A heavy heart. The Ace of Wands. The Ten of Wands. Well, now that says a lot. Huh. The Empress. The Eight of Wands. The Knight of Swords. Well, well, well. The Fool. Here's our Uranus card. Interestingly enough, this is the Venus card. Venus is the ruler of both Libra and Taurus. So we've got a direct motion of Uranus going directed to Taurus tomorrow. I wish I could come up with that other, because they're right back to back, because on the 12th there's another movement, planetary movement. Ah, the Two of Swords, which may be our kind of eclipse energy, even though, you know, the only eclipsed moon in this deck is the Eight of Cups. Wow. And there's our Tower card. So I have 2 depictions of Uranus here. I have no repeater numbers. No, I've got 2 3s. Well, 2 3s can speak to, well, let me, and this guy, the Emperor. Now, just a heads up, Mars is going to be making some moves pretty soon, and he will eventually, I want to say, I'm not sure if it's middle of the month, middle of the year, maybe the end of the year, He's going to be making some major moves, oppositions against both Saturn and Pluto. And that can be a really tense time. I wrote about it in the article. Part 2, I don't know when it's coming out, but it'll be out soon. Two threes can speak to excessive flirting and cheating. Two threes can speak to a pleasant surprise. But the presence of threes in a reading can also be the idea that events are going to be suspended for a minute, okay, until things are worked out. I find it interesting that both the Emperor and the Empress have come out. They are a couple contained within, so perhaps there are 3 people involved in this. Whatever this thing is, it comes to a rapid, I don't want to say conclusion. That's interesting, the Emperor and the Empress. The father and the mother, a couple, above a queen and a king. And right now, things are at cross purposes. So for some of you, I don't know if this is a work issue, a career issue. I don't know if there's been some kind of disappointment for you guys or some kind of letdown, but whatever this letdown was, it actually motivates you. It gives you the opportunity to keep moving forward. The Empress represents someone who knows their own power. Now, I'm not exactly sure. She's also pregnant. So this is about growth. This is about abundance. This is about fertility. I just don't get what this 3 of Swords is trying to tell me in relation to this pastoral. Oh, shoot, you can't even see the cards. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what this is trying to tell me here. I really don't get what that row is completely silent. Past, present, future, and the interplay of the cards. Right in the center of this 8 of Wands. And the 8 of Wands is this idea that something is coming, something is happening, something will be moving. It will be moving very rapidly. It will come out as if to say it comes out of thin air. And with the energy that comes with it, all you're going to be able to do is just kind of hang on. This Tower card says to me 2 things. That whatever this thing is, it completely collapses your plans, or simply that is something that happens so quickly that it's unexpected. It comes out of the blue, okay? Out of nowhere. I do get the sense that for some of you, this is a returning issue here. As if to say, oh, this is going to give me the opportunity to start over again, fresh and anew. But then we see some of you struggling with the idea of whatever this Empress is trying to say, because it completely throws you off your game. So to me, this Emperor card is either going to be a boss or a mentor, or perhaps this person is a soldier. Why? Because he's dressed in his battle gear, a man of authority and position, someone who can, in his most positive aspects, can really rein in his emotions, balance that with his logic, and actually make decisions or do things, but in his most negative, he can be someone that's very, very difficult to deal with. And he can also be someone who starts wars, okay? Consequently, he represents Mars and she represents Venus. These are the lovers of the heavens. Mars was Venus's lover. He wasn't her husband. They did have, I think, a kid together. And I don't know if that was Cupido. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. We shall see what the Sibyllas have to say about this. This tells me that definitely there's a new something that comes in, but you are unsure whether this is the greatest thing that has ever happened or the worst thing that could possibly happen. That's what this 2 is telling me. And for me, the 2 is rather important because it says you don't have enough information to make, or you feel or you think as though you don't have enough information to make a decision or to make a move, but yet your intuition is alerting you that something is afoot. Does that make any sense? Because this guy simply either can come in to break up, some foolishness, or he can come in to start it. All right. But whatever it is, he's meeting this thing meets head on. See that? Almost as if he's stopping it. He's defending against it. Now, I don't know if some of you have been trying to move or change locales. There's this expanse of open ground here that we see, and then suddenly everything collapses. So let's go to the, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pip cards. 1, 2, 3 wands, 1, 2, 3 swords, and 3 major arcana. So again, there's this theme of 3. 3 wands, 3 swords, 3 major arcana cards. So 3s are written all over this particular situation. So let's see. And I honestly, I can't tell you if this is work related or passion inspired, or if it's a relationship. I'm having difficulty trying to determine what is really happening here. So perhaps the Sibyllas can give us a bit more clarity on the situation, okay? Isn't that something? 2 3s foretell of a small but pleasant surprise. That's what I told you. Now, here it is. Next to the Emperor, it is asking you not to become upset or hurt by another's harsh criticism or judgment. You are to remain positive and strong and do not bother to pursue or change things. Just continue to forge ahead. We see that here. And then suddenly something happens. Some message, some news comes in, or someone rides in suddenly. All right. And I don't think the person is coming with to be of assistance in the way that you think they are. It says that this may be a message not to pursue or try to change the existing situation. Rather, begin anew and have no fear, as all will work out accordingly. It also implies that although you may be feeling emotionally hurt by what you consider unfair treatment, judgment, or harsh criticism, take heed in the message that these feelings and circumstances will pass, and you will, with hindsight, see the lessons learned during your time of anguish. Right now, you don't see it. And so this is this idea of things that you have built up or things that you have considered to be solid and secure. This is not always some kind of negative event. This could sometimes be that light bulb moment, that aha moment, that epiphany. Oh shit, I've been upholding this for so long, and suddenly it all collapses to the ground. Does it come unexpectedly? Yes, it does. But what it's designed to do is to clear away those old structures, those things that no longer serve you, and provide you with a new open ground of which to build upon. Does that make any sense? Okay. I hope that I'm explaining this in a way that you can understand what the cards are saying to me. I'm still perplexed by this particular row. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm perplexed. Now, let's see what this Ace of Wands tells us. This may be telling that with the Tower, and even though it's not next to it, there's an influence because they've showed up together. It says that it may be indicating that you are currently unable to materialize your plans into relevant action, and you may be feeling frustrated and tired because of efforts that show little or no return. Here, like I said, it's like something was disappointing to you, and then you decide, something comes through to say, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna move. It's gonna give me an opportunity to start afresh and start anew. And then for others of you, you really don't have a clue what's going on. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just you can't see your way clear. Let's look at this Ten of Wands to see what it says. If anything. It is telling you to look carefully into the situation, as you may have misjudged or miscalculated a situation that needs reconsideration or correction before it is able to come to positive fruition. You're still waiting without any inkling of the outcome of this. With this Eight of Wands in the center, to me, this is telling me two things. Some of you have already gotten the news or the information, or the event has already started moving, but you still don't, as if the cards are saying, you're not certain that what you're seeing or hearing is real or not real. In which case you are to trust what your intuition is telling you. Okay? That's really all I can Eight of Wands tells me nothing. Two of Swords. This is the only card I have left. Now, this is interesting because, you know, it's got swords. Wands. It is an indication that help and assistance will be forthcoming from those you work with and or members of your workplace. I just don't know what this is. So let's go. You know, I normally don't look at, what do you call it? Major Arcana cards. I think some of you feel as though you've made a mistake. I don't know why that is. I'm going to look at this Fool card. And so this could be disappointment. But the swords simply just represent thoughts, perceptions, belief, and ideas. Let's look. Fedeltà. Allegrezze al cuore. There it is. And the prigione. There it is. This is about the celebration of friendships, of groups coming together, um, perhaps contracts. Why? Because this signifies like a marriage. This is a marriage. Um, Here you have the brother and you have the groom. But what is a work contract if a marriage if not a contractual issue? And then suddenly something being stuck and unable to move or be released, or the dog implies loyalty and faith. I do feel that this is someone who perhaps came in. The card that stands out to me the most besides this is this Ten of Wands. The Vedovo, the L'Amica, and the Letterato. Quite interesting. The L'Amica speaks to a friend, someone who's kind and generous, can speak about inviting people into your home, someone who can provide you financial assistance and good advice. So sometimes, and this is this odd thing of this home here, struggling to get to this place. The Letterato is that idea of going to someone who's a learned person, who could be like an advisor. He's not going to be like a doctor or like that kind of professional, but he's going to be somebody who's very learned, and can really impart some information or some knowledge on you, as though he's waiting for either you to arrive or waiting for someone to ask him, or maybe he himself is waiting to speak to someone. I want to take a look at this, and then I'm going to give you a bit more clarity on these cards. Because if this is the negative aspect of the Letterato, this is really somebody quite nasty. Hearts and spades. Spades, wands, and hearts. There is Cupido. Amore. Limoneo. Holy shit. And the Denari. Isn't this funny? These two cards together speak to the coming together and the sharing of joy amongst friends, amongst family, people that you can... something I think has been delayed. There's something has been delayed. But then suddenly, there's two things here. This speaks to attraction and love, frivolity, a marriage. Again, there's the limoneo, right? Along with the dinari. So this is about money and security. But it's not just about money and security. This can be about old documents, things held, not intestate, but things that are protected. Coming on this Tower card can mean either that this comes out of the blue or this very thing collapses. Give me a second. This is going to take a little bit longer than I planned. I want to take a look at these three cards at the top with the Vedovo. The Vedovo. want to see the 3. This person can be single or unmarried, not necessarily a widow. It represents sadness, remorse, and regret, intense loneliness and isolation, lack of support, lack of affection, and an inability to open one's heart to love again for a considerable time. It describes someone who has suffered intensely, who has been defeated by the hardships of life. Isn't that interesting? You know, maybe this is the idea that you meet this person, and in meeting this person, you completely change their life around. But it can sometimes indicate difficulty and warn of difficult times ahead. It can indicate dislike, hatred, and resentment between people, feeling left out in the cold. Someone that they used to rely on for support will not be there anymore. Maybe this is a bereavement, or someone will withdraw their help. In financial matters, it represents a financial loss or dismissal, lack of money, an unwanted business trip, or relocation. It can indicate a great distance. Let's take a look at this quarry. Where is he? I can't read the number there, so give me 1 second. This is most likely a friend or a relative, a partner, daughter, sister, a colleague, or an acquaintance. The person is neither good nor bad, but it speaks to friendship, loyalty, and support. Represents someone whom we can trust, who's there to listen and give it advice. It can also represent a friend's house, as if the cards are saying someone is coming or arriving. They're coming after having a difficult time. Okay? It represents good advice received by someone or a period of prosperity and financial security. It also points to good relationships with one's colleagues, as well as cooperation and team spirit. In love, it heralds loyalty and feelings of security. But if it is surrounded by negative cards, it may represent unrequited love, inasmuch as the loved one sees the other as a friend and not a lover. Isn't that something? I mean, these Sibyllas are, the more I sleep with them under my pillow, the more they just kind of come to life. Here is the letterato. A learned man, a talented man, someone who has to do with the law, such as a juror, judge, or a lawyer. Somebody who may be between the ages of 40 and 55. It could be an older sibling or relative, someone who is single and or divorced. It represents intelligence, intellect, and inner strength, together with a great mental capacity for learning and studying. It heralds recognition in one's fields, unexpected surprises, good news, projects that yield good results, a promising career, extra income, and good relationships, or a reconciliation, and the help of a trusted man. But if this person shows up in the negative, it indicates someone not to be trusted because they have an ulterior motive. This is a person who can plot an elaborate revenge down to the finest detail and wait for years until the time is right to act. Financially, it points to a business that has reached an impasse and that serious decisions as to its future need to be carefully made. It also warns of a promise that will not be kept and trouble in the relationship, usually where one partner has fallen out of love with the other and is seeing someone else or is taking advantage of the other in a calculating way. I don't know. Let's go to the There's something here that, this is interesting, that hasn't been revealed yet. Both of these figures are blindfolded, and this is what the arrow is pointing to. So I don't know if you find out that someone is married, okay, or if this is a sudden break in a relationship. I want to look at these 3 cards here. All right. There's a lot of, what number is that? Okay. Faithfulness and devotion. It points to self-confidence. It describes the loyalty of a friendship and a relationship based on trust and very solid foundations, able to withstand the test of time. In love, this card heralds the return of a lover. When found near a significant card, it defines the person with the traits of loyalty, dependability, and someone we can trust and lean on. Sometimes this card can represent protection and representing the spirit world, a spirit guide watching over us. That could be what this is. It represents, if this is the negative, the foolish part, again, that we don't, these 3 characters are blind, and I don't know why. It can indicate outside influences undermining the couple's relationship. It gives a warning that someone in whom we placed our trust and affection has other agendas and will let us down badly with possible betrayal and even treachery. It points to a lack of support and a lack of real friends or real love from one's partner, who has very likely found someone else. If before this card in the meaning, because it represents times free of worry and celebration, support by someone close, marriage, achievement, passionate love, engagement, and a positive family event, christening, birth, here with these. If personal relationships were troubled, it heralds reconciliation. It represents requited love and a period of emotional stability and or passion, loyalty, and the ability to make a commitment and love. But the reverse of this says, if it represented happiness and stability, now it points to a period of insecurity, stress, instability, and worry ahead. Likely the arrival of something or someone that will cause these circumstances to manifest. It points to betrayals, affairs, disappointment, cheating, and uncertain personal relationships. Frustrations on all levels. With the prigione. You know, I just wish I knew what this was. He is the 9 of Swords. Because this represents anything that chains you to the situation, person, or idea. Addiction, dependency, abusive relationship, physical subjugation to another, incarceration, or being a prey to one's own fears and emotions. It highlights condition of helplessness, of being powerless to change events, whether this is real or a figment of your imagination. It indicates a situation of deprivation, isolation, of lack of support. Its primary meaning is that of the loss of a friend or the loss of a mate or spouse, not necessarily through bereavement. We saw that in the past. But it can also act as a warning and can warn of a potential loss of one's freedom and of situations of subordination and subjugation to another. It can indicate serious legal problems, trouble with the police, and incarceration. It could also indicate A difficult commitment that has to be seen through to the very end. Humiliation, debts, and the presence of enemies and adverse or conditions. Serious legal problems. As a place, it represents a prison or any place we find unpleasant, such as a hospital, but can also be a place of isolation. It can represent a toxic family environment and someone who feels imprisoned within their family circumstances. Financially, it indicates poverty and misery on all levels, but also spiritual miserliness. Slave labor, the inability to find a better job. In love, it represents someone who is close-hearted and does not know how to truly love. Someone who is single due to a heavy character flaw or a physical handicap. In a relationship, it heralds separation and divorce. It also says that, it can represent the idea that you're going to free your own self from this condition of slavery and subjugation. Because in the background, here's a window and it has no bars on it. And all you have to do is take a few steps to solve the situation. Eventually a way out which cannot be seen. Now, I want to take a look at these 3 cards because I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, if this is near negative cards, we can say that's rather a negative, neutrally negative. It represents someone who's already married or committed. A contract, an agreement, a pact or promise, but also a society, a group, an association, a foundation based on common interest. That's the liminal. It represents a wedding, the beginning of a wedding, and metaphorically, it also represents the beginning of something that will yield results. This card presides over weddings, the formal union of 2 people. Let's take a look at the, what's interesting is this is a clubs card. It doesn't fall in the hearts. Excuse me. This really represents, it foretells the beginning of a new romantic relationship, friendships, marriage, engagement, a new birth, harmonious family dynamics, and the rekindling of an old flame. Or more simply, it indicates that the relationship that 2 people share is based on a foundation of mutual affection. It predicts happiness, achievement, and it gives hope for a better future. In financial matters, it is a positive card, and that it signifies that one's work is dear to one's heart. But watch out, because it can also signal somebody who's in love with their job. It is an intensifier card. But if this is in the reverse, it means arguments and unrequited love, a relationship with ulterior motive, love that turns to hatred, infidelity, disloyalty, and secret affairs, both in love and business. If this is you, it represents your inability to see things as they are, for your judgment is clouded by strong emotions. Remember, I said that. And here is the Dinari. It speaks to money, inheritance, abundance, and good business investments, success, gambling, winnings, opulence, and wealth. Neutrally, it can simply mean a family heirloom, property, assets, and capital. Now, what's odd is that this card is found in the suit of hearts and not diamonds, which represents material affairs. But it shows up here because it is related. Money is deeply related to people's emotions. That's why arguments and crap break out between families over finances and money. It represents advantageous unions, whether in love or business. But in love, especially, it indicates an ulterior motive of financial interest behind the reason for getting married or having married or being with somebody. So it can represent a loveless marriage. It represents the past. And it can indicate a person or situation already known or something coming back from the past into the present. Antiques and history. If this is a negative, again, it acts as a highlighter. It foretells of lack of money, unpredictability, difficulties, debt, poverty, gambling debts, bankruptcy, money troubles, insufficient funds, and bad financial investments. It can herald a bad period of business, the inability to invest and expand for lack of resources, including the refusal of a mortgage or loan from a bank. And if this is what you've been waiting on, the answer is that you will not get your money back if you've loaned it or you're trying to get, something passed, some kind of legal issue. It lengthens the period of manifestation. In its future position, it represents something unknown and new. It can indicate a person not yet known who is going to enter the life of the querent. That's you. So literally, like I said, this could be the idea that you haven't met this person yet. Well, I'm going to pull 3 cards on this. That's just an odd 3 cards to come out on that Tower card. Some of you are going to be meeting somebody who literally is going to knock your socks off, and others of you may discover that the person that you've met is already married, and some of you, this may be that the relationship, no matter what it is, it's going to finally collapse. All will be revealed. 4 of Hearts, 8 of Diamonds, and the Jack of Hearts. Well, isn't that something? Get ready to formulate your question for the Heart Oracle Tarot. Here we go. Travel, change of business. A new job, change in a job. It also says that love may be found on a trip. Isn't that something? Now, I want to give you this other meaning. The Jack of Hearts just tells you that this is someone who perhaps may knock your socks off. Yeah? The second time around, marriage, career. You will return to a place or situation that you've known before with a greater chance of positive outcome. I think somebody's coming back. Now, whether this person is coming back for good or they're coming back because they have an ulterior motive, maybe that's what this card is telling you. And maybe this energy, this King Emperor energy is asking you to stay grounded, stay true to who you are. Hold on. That doesn't tell me anything. So, lastly, let's get to my documents here. You have built walls around your heart and refuse to let change come through for you. Change is coming, so be open to it. It can also speak to postponement, delays, and a change in your home or business. Again, that comes up. The 8 of Diamonds says that hard work brings success and money, and you will have success. It says keep your eyes on the goal and don't become distracted. It does indicate a new job or change in a job situation, but also indicates a possible new love interest on a trip taken. Here's this guy, the Jack of Hearts. It can represent either a good or best friend or possible love interest. It says to determine if the person's intentions are bad or sketchy. Well, I don't know. For some of you, it may be the best thing that's ever happened. For others of you, you might want to watch out. Either way, I think it's up to you to protect your heart, your emotions, your physical. It doesn't mean that you have to like be an iron bitch, right? It just means to maybe take things slowly, right? And trust whatever your intuition is telling you. And remember, it's not what people say, it's what they do. And I get the sense that some of you have kind of already, maybe you just don't know what to do. I just think it's quite interesting that these 3 characters are not seeing perhaps what they need to see. And I don't know what that means. All right, here we go. It is the Wheel of Fortune, the flow card. Well, isn't that interesting? A major arcana. And this card says, the energies around you at this time are positive and are driving you forward. So let yourself flow with these energies and put them to good use. This is an opportune time to attract your heart's desire. Do you want more love, peace, or greater understanding? Is your heart calling out for a new relationship? Does a current relationship need improvement? Focus on your desires and allow them to manifest by expecting them to. At the same time, release yourself to the flow. Events greater than you can ever imagine may be heading your way. Project your desires, but also be open to new possibilities. Good fortune and joyful synchronicities come with the flow card. Open your heart and arms wide and embrace what comes to you. That was the other astrological thing. Jupiter will be moving, I think, on the 12th into 0 Aquarius. If I'm not mistaken, I think that may be so. Nothing is static. Life flows in cycles, expanding and contracting, changing and growing. You may be entering a new cycle regarding matters of the heart. Welcome this new cycle. When a stone is tossed into a pond, the ripples flow with the water as they expand and grow. You're in an exciting period of forward movement and expansion, heading into the unknown. This forward movement may guide you into new relationships or out of old ones. In either case, know that the change is for your highest good. The energy of expansion will help you grow into your new situation gracefully, safely, and comfortably. The affirmation is, I move forward with grace and ease. That's what I have for you. I think that's quite an interesting reading because there's so many different messages. There's so many different outcomes or possibilities. It's just hard to tell from an open reading. So with that being said, mad happy 2020 to you, and I'll speak again soon. Namaste.